Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is Vargo from vargobeats.com. I'd like to welcome you to the first part of the new series of video tutorials that I'm going to make. It's called The Secret Art of Mixing. A little bit about myself. I was born in California. I was raised in Texas. I'm now living in Las Vegas. I've made a few industry placements. I've worked with So Icy Entertainment. I've produced a track for Gucci and Yo Gotti. Since then, I've worked with Jelly Roll, Mr. Pookie. I'm actually about to start working with Juicy J. I'm getting a production deal ready for that. But what this video tutorial series is really going to be about is helping the young and upcoming producers that are kind of new to the game learn to mix their tracks properly. One of the biggest differences between the really successful online producers and the not so successful online producers doesn't necessarily have much to do with the top online producers being much better beat makers or producers. A lot of it just has to do with the way that their tracks are mixed. I think mixing is an art, and it's very important. It doesn't need to be looked over in the production community like it generally is. It's very important. Being able to mix is just as important as being able to make a hot track, in my opinion. So part one of this tutorial is actually going to be over EQing your kicks and your 808s, or your subwoofer basses, or whatever you're using. This is very, very crucial to having a good mix because you don't want your kicks and your 808s fighting for space. So I'm going to show you how to do that to kind of clean that up a little bit and have your drum sound sounding right, whether it's in the car, on your subwoofer there, whether it's on your studio monitors, your headphones, or whatever. So the track that we're starting with, it's on my website. It's called 3000 AD. I've gotten a lot of good reviews off of it. So I'm going to kind of show it to you guys and show you how I EQ'd the kick and the subwoofer bass to make it sound clean. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to play the first pattern. This is one of the hook patterns. I'm going to let you hear kind of the way the mix sounds without the EQ. Then I'm going to put the EQ on and show you the difference. So here's the pattern. So as you can hear, it's a really futuristic, kind of a new school, new age type track kind of feel that I was going for. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to isolate the kick and the subwoofer pattern to where you can just hear that, and then I'm going to show you how to EQ it. Okay, so as you can hear, the subwoofer sound, it's actually really low, really deep, so it's really going to rumble from your subwoofers. That was the kind of feel I was going for. And you might think the kick and the subwoofer sound fine right there, and they do, but you got to realize that whenever you put the mix together, and especially when you put vocals on top of it, it's going to need to sound a little bit different. That's a mistake that I see a lot from new producers. I'm going to start by EQing the kick, and I'm just going to use the Parametric EQ too. You can use any EQ you want, but I like this one because it's simple and it comes with Fruity Loops. I know not everybody has thousands of dollars to spend on new plugins. So the cool thing about the EQ is the frequencies that are coming through are going to shine orange, and the brighter they shine, the more of that frequency is coming through. So I'm going to play the track. Well, I'm going to take off this subwoofer. Alright, now you can see this coming through. It's coming through basically the whole spectrum, but you can see it's brighter around this area and around this area. Now the lower area is going to be more of the deep end of the kick, the low end. The top end is going to be more of the punch that shines through. So it's going to be up to you as the producer and as the engineer which one you want to cut through. Me personally, I wanted the punchy part since my subwoofer was so deep. So the first thing that I do with almost every kick is I roll off some of this low end. A lot of this, anything below the 40 hertz region, really it doesn't do anything for your track, and it'll muddy up your mix more than you think. So I roll that off. Now, I was trying to bring up the punchy part of the kick. Here in my notes it says that is around 114 hertz is what I did in my original mix. So I'm just going to kind of show you where that's at. As you can tell, it's right here on the bottom end of the punch part of the kick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring that up maybe 4 decibels. But here's the problem. See this wide hump? I don't want all of that frequency being brought up. I want to isolate that at around 114 hertz. So what you can do is go down here to your bandwidth or your Q, and you can lower that to isolate that. I'm going to get it down to about 8% to where that frequency is isolated and that's coming up. I'm going to have a punchier kick now. And it may not sound that much different to you at first, but in the context of the mix, it's definitely going to sound different. So now I'm going to move on to the subwoofer, and then I'm going to play both of them together. The subwoofer EQ is going to be very similar, actually. I'm going to start by isolating. As you can tell, it's coming through right here and right here. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to roll off some of that muddy low end that's unnecessary. Now, since the subwoofer is so deep, what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to bring that out and make it sound really broad. So what I'm going to do, here in my notes it says that's around 56 hertz. So I'm going to bring number 2 down to 56. And I'm going to bring that up a little bit. Not much, not even probably by a decibel. Like that. I'm going to isolate it a little bit like the last one. I can just bring up that end, and it seems so small, but the subtle things are what really brings out the power in your drums and in your mix. So don't ever think that you have to do too much with your EQ. Now this part is very important. Whatever frequency, as a general rule, whatever frequency that you bring up in your kick, you're going to want to bring down in your 808 or your subwoofer bass, because you don't want those two fighting for space on the frequency spectrum. So if you can remember, I did it at 114 hertz on the kick, so I'm just going to bring this down to 100. Oops. I'm going to bring this down to 114 hertz. And what I'm going to do then is bring that down, not too much, maybe to right there, kind of dip it down a little bit, isolate that, just to where they're not fighting for space. And that's all I'm going to do. Now I'm going to play them together. And as you can tell, it sounds a little bit cleaner already. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to bypass both of those EQs and let you hear the original one more time. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the EQs in and let you hear how it sounds after it's EQ'd. And it's not going to be a huge difference, but you'll definitely be able to tell that it's a little bit cleaner. So I'll play the original for you real quick. Okay, now I'm going to play the track with the EQ. I'm going to let you hear how much cleaner the drums sound then. And it is very subtle, but you can hear the kick kind of punching through the mix. I like to call it biting through the mix. And that's really going to help whenever you lay vocals down on top of the track and you finish the master track for the song. The kick is really going to bite through the mix, and that's the goal. So yeah, this is part 1. I'm going to do a whole lot more video tutorials. If you haven't checked out the website, it's vargobeats.com. I'm actually going to put a link down below, so you can click on that. If you like the page, subscribe. Like I said, this is a whole series of tutorials, and I'm here to help you. Whether you're a young and upcoming artist and you're really just trying to learn how to mix, or you already know how to mix and you just want to learn how to mix a little bit better. I'm not saying my way is, the perfect way every time, but I definitely have experience in the field. So stay tuned for more videos. We're definitely going to have more coming soon. Thanks.